viewers, very happy to welcome you for the Mayo Memoirs with Lokesh. Today we are going to have an interesting guest with us. He is a veteran in the field of talent acquisition. He is the founder of the job portal techfetch.com, which has helped millions to get job. He is going to talk with us the trend in the talent acquisition industry, how pandemic has affected the industry, and what is in store in the industry and how the future is going to look like. So he is going to share interesting tidbits with us. We are very happy to welcome Prabakaran Murugaiah for our show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
So generally people think, things in India actually catch up 10 years later after in US. So what is the current trend of talent acquisition in US and how do you see this talent acquisition? Because here a lot of HR generalists was holding the forte. Right now we are looking at more of specialist skills. So how you rate this talent acquisition skills right now? And also you can talk about pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, how things have changed in this scenario.
Sure. See, between US and India, a lot of trends will follow maybe sometimes after 2 years, 3 years. So that's for a larger, bigger trends. But if we're specific to technology, most of the Indian IT services companies or solution companies, they are in parallel with US companies. 90% of the Indian tech workforce is actually providing support for US companies. So most of the supply demand gap is being solved by the Indian tech workforce. So whatever the changes, skill sets need, demand supply gap, that will immediately reflect on India. One major change that we are seeing during the pandemic, we are almost end of the pandemic, but we may go a little more time. The digital transformation skills, what we keep hearing is predominantly India was support and maintenance center for a long time, and still predominantly the support and maintenance center for a back office and those kind of things. But what we are seeing is the digital transformation. A lot of applications are changing from legacy to either cloud native applications or to support the digital transformation skill set. So that's why there is an immediate need for in-demand skill sets. So that the fight for that in-demand skill set, because the supply, it doesn't exist. You can't create the supply overnight. And that in-demand skill set, reducing the cost arbitration pretty low. So some of the larger companies, they go through their GICs to hire these people. They go through their partners to hire these people. But many smaller companies, companies with less than 1,000 people, they hire these talent directly. That also we are seeing. And, there are stories I'm hearing, people who make, 22 lakhs, 24 lakhs are getting offered for 1 crore. So,
Okay.
so that some of the very niche skill sets where they don't mind, I'm willing to pay $50 an hour, $60 an hour. That will cost $80, $90. Previously it's 1/3 of cost arbitration. Now probably 30% less cost arbitration is okay, as long as I can get somebody to come and solve the problem. So the world is, I'm seeing as a kind of a true flat, when wherever their skill sets, they are going to make a bigger impact. So a lot of changes are happening in a very, very aggressive way.
So actually, when you see in India, we think Naukri.com, Monster.com, all these things which created a disruption in the job market right now. I think you own one of jobsfetch.com, one of the platforms for job markets. So how you conceived this idea when you started it? What are all the challenges you faced, or can you just give me a snapshot about your company and how it has you interested to go for it?
Sure. So my platform is called techfetch.com, techfetch.com. The fundamental idea behind that is, if you see the US market, 80% of the tech market is about full-time, and then another 20% is consulting and contracting. The consulting and contracting is 6 months, 1 year, so it's a recyclable industry where you go and do as a consultant, go and solve the problem and go and find another project. So during the time when we don't have a lot of time to search for a job, so I was a consultant. When I'm finishing the project, if I don't get a project for a week, still I lose through $3,000 per week. And so that's one part. But more than that, the frustration part was, say I'm a statistical expert and data science or data modeling, where you have a couple of keywords and people keep calling. If you get 30, 40 calls, out of that 90% of them, 80% of them are not relevant calls, where because they pick up few keywords and they call, hey, I have a project for this. And then we have to tell them that I'm not qualified for this job. You're calling a wrong person. So 80% of the time, I was educating the recruiter that this is the job that I'm not eligible, or you're not hiring the right person. So like that, one example is like if you see my experiences, I'm more on data-based data warehousing with SAS as my primary, but I might have worked on a couple of databases, say Redbrick, say Sybase, which is in a part of the database I have used. And you're a data warehousing consultant, and I have a keyword Sybase, I have a keyword Redbrick, and they're calling for I need a Redbrick DBA. They don't even understand that the difference between the. So that was a problem with the technical recruiter. They call them technical recruiters, but they're not a technical. So I thought that, hey, if this problem exists for me, there are a million people they face this problem. So how do we eliminate this? Searching for a job and searching for a resume. So I built a statistical modeling based on algorithm where we call it fetch, where the candidate need not to search, the recruiters need not to search. So it works like a puppy. You throw a job, the puppy will fetch you the resume. You throw a resume, the puppy will fetch you a job. So both parties, they come and post it, and then we immediately do a connection. And whenever, if I'm looking for a job, if I go and post the resume, whenever there is a new job that comes in, I get an alert within 30 seconds. So that is how we built it. We are running this for last 13 years. We probably could have placed about 1 million people in the last 13 years. We are about a couple of million US candidates. We are 100% US exclusive, only US resources. It has immigrant and non-immigrant both. We have visa holders as well as citizens on system. We bring anywhere between 200 to 300,000 requisition per year. So we are one of the top 5 talent acquisition platform, that too highly geared towards consulting and contracting job market, which requires very niche, very unique profiles. So that is how it started.
So when we talked about, I think it's a very good story and very inspiring to know about a person from our country is actually in top 5 of US market. It's really inspiring. And when we talked about, there are a lot of people, like for example here, people have a lot of ambitions to move to US, study there, find a job and all those things. How after the political changes and all those things, people felt there are certain, some bottlenecks happened in traveling to US, all those things, and also people who have been working on H1B, all those issues came up. So how do you see for the next 5 years, maybe the change of political scenario in US? How we people can look at US as a job market? What are all the key skills which we can look at right now? So I'm maybe not a person who is getting educated in US, but somewhere I have seen a lot of my colleagues or seniors who have been to US through some other ways to get jobs there, and those things. I think you got the question.
Sure. So the need for highly experienced talent in the digital and technologies are continue to grow in multifold. I would say probably 20-30% year over year. There will be a churn from legacy workforce where people will continue to get retired, and then new workforce will come. But in terms of H1B, in my view, is too much of noise by the media, and those who are writing, first they don't understand what the visa is, how it is being utilized. They are all clickbaits, and I don't want to blame the media, but the understanding of that is very, very less. They are all looking for newsworthy content rather than actually providing a valid information. They are very, very small percentage. I'm talking about the media in the US as well as in India. Still, they don't get the fundamental nuances of the H1B. So I came here on H1B, and after I got my green card, I built a company, and I helped over 1 million people to get a job. There are many H1Bs like me who came here and build companies and create more jobs. The need for this H1 is continue to stay. That's not going to be a big issue. The appetite for people, interest for people to come to US and on H1, or came here as a student and then get into the work visa and then be an entrepreneur living the American dream, that is already there. That's never going to reduce. Even there are tons of opportunities coming in, and even you're getting the same salary like US in India, but the quality of life and the experimentation, what they want to go, the aspiration is completely different. So that will never change. And finally, if you see the workforce, there are 150 million people. It's the American total workforce. Of that 150 million, only 5%. It's about 8 million people are in the IT workforce. Of that 8 million, only 800,000 people are on H1. That 800,000 people are on H1, that has been accumulated over the period of 10 years. And every year, there is 85,000 people got accumulated. But to get green card, it takes about 10 to 12 years. So that's why it's a rolling window of 10 years and 12 years of people. When I got my green card, it took 3-4 years. Today, it takes 10 years. So that is the accumulation. So every year, the number of people who are adding into the H1B workforce is about 80,000. Out of 85,000, 50,000 people are US masters, US educated workforce. So the funnel to the H1B has been changed. 90%, 80%, or 70% of the current H1B workforce is predominantly educated in the US. So that's a path. People work for a couple of years in India, and then they come and do master's degree, and they get hired in the campus and then become the predominant workforce in the US. So in my simple line, it's continued to there may be new regulations may come, but this is a very small percentage for them to solve that problem. So it's not getting enough attention. And because people are okay, it takes 10, 12 years to get the green card, but nothing is, there are some issues coming in the H4 and their kids when they're getting into college, that those are very smaller immigration issues. That's why not anybody is jumping on it to solve the problem like the illegal immigrants, which is 10 million, 12 million, 15 million. This is less than 1 million people. So the issues what the H1B will be facing, in my view, may stay for some more time. Some changes may come during the Obama administration. They gave dependent visa, dependent H1 holders to get a work authorization, some kind of optimization to create better environment for them. And there is a new entrepreneurship visa came in. So a lot of people who wanted to start a company from H1, now they move to, which is about 100,000 visas, something like that. So the nutshell is the environment is likely to be better or stay same. It cannot or it won't get worse.
So one of your, as soon as you see your LinkedIn profile, you're told already in the talk, you told about you have created 1 million, connections for the job, and people have utilized 1 million job, or people have got 1 million jobs or something. And also 13 years of your, company being in US. So what is, you were talking about when we discussed the next transformation in talent acquisition. So what you're motivated to bring in the next change in talent acquisition. So we know about it, and also it acts as a trigger for some of HR professionals or talent acquisition specialists.
Sure. So pre-pandemic, we were, doing some research and surveys and studies. Say the current, Gen Z is going out of workforce, right? People are 50s, 60s. Next 10 years when they are leaving, then when the other generation is coming in, their mindset is different, right? The way that they're going to work, or the way they're going to experience life, the way they're going to look at the job market is going to be different. So we were putting all that. So by 2030, there will be a change. That was the search and the study and research that we have done. But COVID accelerated that. Whatever we are expecting that to happen in 2030, we are expecting that to happen maybe by 2025 or maybe in 2023. So in next 2 to 3 years, that's likely to happen. During the pandemic, I was projecting that instead of 2030, the COVID accelerated the journey 5 years to 2025. But what I'm seeing now, probably 2022 or 23. So it's imminent. The changes are going to be imminent. So I'll give you 3 data points or the prediction. That not much of data is available, but it's a cohesive, still we are on the studies and other thing. Number 1, the 3 shifts a day is likely to change to 4 shifts a day, which means like 8 hours of shift is likely to reduce to 6 hour a shift. That is, so now people will be willing to work only 6 hour shift. So you need to change that to 3 shift to 4 shift a day. That's a massive change, which means you are likely to hire 30% more employees to solve that problem. Number 1. Number 2, the work hours are expected to change. Our parents generation, they work anywhere between 60 to 80 hours to have a reasonable life. And our generation, I'm in late 40s. We are expected to work. As an entrepreneur, we work 80 hours a week, but in a traditional workforce, we work expected to work only 40 hours, which is 5 days work week, at 40 hours. The next generation is expected to work only 20 to 30 hours. That too in 2 jobs. So 20 hours will be their primary job, which may be 5 hours a day for 4 days a week. And then they will work another 10 hours on demand as part of the gig economy. So each one need 2 jobs, right? If you apply that logic to companies, then they need 2 people, right? So that's the second transformation is coming in. The third transformation, what we are predicting is the previous generation, if you take, they join a company and they retire and they live, pension and everything happy. And our generation, at least, there are a lot, workforce, they take maybe 5 years and then join a company, 2-3 years, and then join a company for a pretty long time and then grow up the ladder and then kind of semi-retire. So maybe in our generation, we may have 2 or 3 employers we may have. The next generation is expected to work 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Not more than that. So because of the experiential life, they wanted to move somewhere, the change, the life is so fast. And so that means the tenure of, I'm talking about the US, India, we still don't have, India may experience the same thing. We're faster because the digital technology and social are all coming together to create that impact, especially the developed countries and developing countries. The mindset of the millennials or the next generation is kind of same because they are all grew up and glued to the same social and mobile world. So when the tenure comes down from 4-6 years to 3 years, the number of hire, you don't need to have the number of people to increase. The number of hire is going to be double. right? The effort is going to double. When you want to hire number of hires double, then obviously the number of people to interview, it's a massive talent acquisition problem is going to come. What we are predicting, the next bigger crisis when we emerge from the pandemic is going to be the workforce crisis, right? So that's the third issue. The fourth issue is we're predicting only 50% of the workforce actually need to work for the current social environment, right? Not, we don't need to have. So when the previous generation, our generation, was reduced to work 40 hours from 60 hours of parents to 40 hours because we wanted to have more quality of life, more independent, and even 40 hours of work week will give us double the quality of life of our parents. And the next generation need not to work. There is no need for two full-time work per household. Right now, husband and wife both are working, and moving forward, they may be okay for either two part-time jobs in a house or maybe one full-time job house. So the prediction is only half of the people will be intent to work. So 50% of workforce is not interested to work or need not to work. So that also reduces the need for or the supply. You cannot create the supply if people don't want work. So all of that going to push a lot of pressure on the hiring, so which requires automation, right? Then a lot of HR tech companies will come in more automation, more optimization, and this is not only for a tech. This is across the board. So the number of openings in the US is actually more than the number of unemployed people. So which means, if you come, the delta is negative. So there are 8 million open positions or 10 million open positions available for 8 million unemployed people. And sometimes a skill mismatch, but still, if there are 10 million open positions available, they couldn't find people. It's a massive problem. And the problem is not only for tech, it's not only for healthcare, not only for white collar educated people, even for lawn mowing, even for car cleaning. There is not enough people in everywhere. So, which requires every company jump onto digital transformation to optimize the workforce. How easily you can train the people, how easily you can hire the people, how much effort that you can put retention of the people. See, one of the perks what we are seeing for companies to hire, in addition to giving healthcare for you, we will also give you your pet health insurance. Right? That's a perk. Can you imagine a company to give, because pet is always a family for people, and saying that, hey, we are happy to give you, attracting people to come on. Hey, we'll add pet insurance as part of your health insurance package. That's the kind of situation we are seeing right now. So that's a path we will move forward to.
Yeah. So I think most of your tech interventions and also your the next thing in technology or talent acquisition you covered. So we talked about the supply issue, and now already this might be a question I just want to put to, so that we'll close this one. So what do you see in the demand side? Like, for example, the demand, the economy, the whole world's economy is shrinking or something. Maybe you were talking about the end of the pandemic, so maybe the end is near. So how do you, the rebound, how you think the rebound will happen, how soon it will happen, how we will face the normal situation, or do we need to do some, deviations, or how it is going to, this, already we are using the word new normal. So will we be back to normal in the demand side, or the new normal will force something which we have to adapt?
So it's an excellent question. This is a new normal, and this will be a normal. The new normal will become normal after maybe a year or maybe in 18 months. we are predicting the hybrid workforce is going to be the new normal. It's very, when the workforce is having too much of crisis, and it's not employer driven economy anymore. It is an employee driven economy, and it continued to be like that. So that's number one. Second is, when you are engaging the flexibility for the workforce, you will be adopting the flexibility of delivering what you need to be done for the customer also. So, say example, the remote workforce, not only for IT, there's a remote learning, remote healthcare, remote delivery. So all of them is kind of spreading the effort to a lot of people in multiple ways. So that's going to be the new normal. In terms of supply and demand and the quality, in my view, because of adoption in the digital transformation, a lot of things can be done very quickly in a more quality. So that will improve the quality of life. In my view, our kids probably will earn the same amount of money for the half of the time that we worked, and still have double the quality of life. So in my view, they're a 10x generation. And, they may not even realize that how difficult it is to dial a 10-digit number through the rotary phone, right? And they said, "Hey, Google, call this person." That's all they will say, and Google is going to do all the work, or Alexa is going to do the work. That's a kind of a digital transformation. They may not even experience how effective that is to do 10 years ago, 5 years ago, like that. For the companies, I would say anybody, there may be a lot of smaller companies will come in terms of tech, in terms of manufacturing, in terms of agriculture, everything. What I would, we are coining a word of how the new normal will be. I call it 50-50-50, which means if you have a business, you should transform the business to 50-50-50. What does it mean is, you should be able to deliver at a 50% cost, whatever you're doing, at 50% faster and 50% more quality. So that's the, if that digital transformation doesn't happen, you don't exist. So that's one major transformation that we are predicting.
I think this 50-50-50 is the nice way of you coined. I think it actually gave a lot of insight. And thanks, Praba. I think it's a new, maybe new insights you gave, because looking at talent acquisition passionately, I think you brought a new light to this one. And thanks for coming onto our show. And we are honored that you are part of the show. And we'll keep calling you for more updates, because things are going to be very fast changing and all those things. I think experts like you will add value to us. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Enjoy the time.